I'm going to use this pizza box, because we had pizza last night, to explain how the coronavirus vaccine works, because I've seen all these videos on YouTube, and they use all these fancy words, and I'm not much for fancy words. So here's how it works. All right, so you've got, this is a lung, healthy lung cell. There's a whole bunch of little guys, and they're working inside, they're breathing, they're doing their thing, working inside the lung cell. And then here, you've seen this coronavirus. It kind of looks like a basketball, and it's got all these like spiky things on it, right? So it's kind of floating around. It's floating around. The guys inside the lung cell are like, oh, what's going on here? Like, well, we see lots of things. You know, well, I wouldn't be too worried about it. So then it floats on over here, and then boop, boop, the little spike, it like holds on to the lung cell. Guys that are inside are like, hey, what's going on there? And then it starts like drilling into the lung cell. And these guys are like, hey, cut it out. So they start running over here. And then what they do is they basically just like break this open, and they throw the basketball in here. And now these guys are like, well, what's going on? They're like drilling in, they got a basketball, and then like the basketball splits. And now there's got like two basketballs, and now these guys are fighting these guys. And this is why it's hard to breathe when you're getting corona, because these guys aren't focusing on breathing, they're focusing on fighting off these guys. This is also why some people beat the coronavirus, because sometimes they've got lots of little guys working inside their lung cell, and they only had like one basketball spiky thing come at them. Pretty easy to take them on. But what happens if your guys are kind of weak? You know, a lot of them have retired, a lot of them don't really want to work anymore, and say somebody like coughed right in your face, and there's like a whole bunch of corona guys coming at you. You get like this big load. That's why some people die of COVID and some people don't. Okay, so that's basically how you die of COVID. So how does the vaccine work? Well, what the smart scientists did is they took some COVID, and then they took some scissors, some really tiny scissors, and they cut off all the spiky thingies. So now they've got the basketball sitting here, and then they've got some spiky thingies sitting here, and they gathered up all the spiky thingies, and they inject that into your body. Okay, so now what happens? We got the healthy lung cell. We got the guys, they're working. They're just doing their thing, doing some breathing. They're chatting away. And then some spiky thingies start floating towards. And they're like, hey, hey, Bob, should we do something about that? Oh, I don't know. And then, boop, then it starts drilling in. Hey, stop that. So he runs over here. And this guy over here, he's doing a spiky thingy. He's drilling in. And as soon as they break in, they literally they bend over to try to throw in their basketball. But there ain't no basketball left anymore. So this guy fights this guy, he beats him up. This guy fights this guy, he beats him up. This guy goes outside the cell because this guy's like, running away. And he beats that guy up. All right, so then they have a meeting. So they go to their boardroom, and they're just sitting around the meeting, and they're like, guys, those spiky thingies, bad news bears. So we got to write up a memo, and we got to send it to the other cells. They got to get the memo too. But you know how it's like in a corporation, you send it, but then halfway along, Deborah in accounting, she's like, why wasn't I CC'd on it? So, it takes forever for this memo to get to the other cells. And then, like Russell, he was off on vacation in the kidneys. It takes people a while to get back. So that's why we wait 21 days until we try this, we try the second dose of the vaccine. So now that everyone's got the memo, healthy cells, healthy cells, healthy cells. We throw a bunch more spikes in it, and everyone hopefully is on board, and everyone's like, oh, there's the spikes. And they jump out of their cells, and they run, and they beat them all up before they even have a chance to get inside the cell. So that is why when you get the COVID vaccine, you have a 0% chance of getting COVID, because they're not actually giving you the basketball part. They've cut off the spiky parts. They've gotten rid of the basketball part. They're just giving you the spiky parts. So a 0% chance of getting COVID. You got about, I don't know, the research is kind of out, but it's about a 50-50 chance that you're going to feel kind of crummy a little bit, because, these guys are fighting off the spikes. They're not focusing on breathing and stuff. So you're going to feel a little bit under the weather for a little bit. That's not too bad. And they're saying now there's about a 95% chance that you're going to be immune, I got to put that in quotations, from COVID, because now that everyone's got the memo, you should be able to fight it off. Now, what happens if, some people are off on vacation, some people retire, number of years go by, people aren't working here anymore, they're not reading those bulletins that are up in the lunchroom about, look out for spiky thingies. There's a chance someone might cough in your face a decade from now and give you like a ton of COVID. There is a chance that you might still not be immune from it. But 0% chance of getting COVID, 50% chance of feeling, just a little bit under the weather for a couple days, and a 95% chance of being able to fight it off. Yeah, I would take this vaccine. I think it sounds pretty good. Oh, and another reason why this is 0%, because not only did they cut off the spiky thingies, now what they're doing is they're just straight up photocopying the spiky thingies. It's not even actual COVID anymore. They did this, they used some fancy word, they called it genetic sequencing, and they had all these like letters like TGG, I don't know what it means. Anyways, they photocopied all the spiky thingies. So you're not even getting legit spiky thingies. You're just getting like fake ones that look, instead of like this, they're like this. But it's close enough that the guys inside are like, is that the one we're looking out for? Yeah, that's the one that we don't want. So 0% chance of getting COVID from the vaccine. I don't know if it's exactly 50, but there's a chance of feeling kind of crummy for like 2 days, and 95% chance that you're going to be somewhat immune, or at least 95% you're going to be able to fight it off. I'd get the vaccine. I think it's pretty reasonable.